Alright, greetings esteemed viewers. Welcome to another PixelCast with just me, your host, Brian. This time I'm going to do something different. Last time I said we were going to do something different with doing the PixelCast at all, but this time I'm going to be doing something even more differenter in that I'm not going to be talking about video games today. I'm going to be talking about Black Panther. You know, that super popular Marvel movie that came out a little bit ago that everybody was just raving about and how much of a masterpiece it was. Well, I disagree. Kind of. I liked the movie. I found it entertaining. I don't think it's a piece of crap or anything, but I don't think it's some masterful example of just cinematic majesty that everybody else, well, not everybody else, but a lot of other people seem to think that. And, you know, going into the reasons why I think they think that. Now, let me preface this for anyone who doesn't know. I am a black person, so that shouldn't mean anything really. If it were up to me, that wouldn't mean anything. People could just evaluate things as they are, but you know how the world is right now, so I won't go too much into that, but I feel like that there might have been a little bit of bias with a lot of people who have seen this film. If they were black, then they're just happy that a huge blockbuster was a relatively competent huge blockbuster starring black people was in the works and in production and was distributed worldwide. And if you weren't black, then I feel like a lot of people have this internal fear type thing that if they don't like something or they say something or do something that can be construed as against black people, then they're automatically racists. So it's just this kind of conscious bias, I would say. I would call it, where they, or maybe it's unconscious conscious bias, or I don't even like that term very much, but basically it's people going in there, they've internalized that if they don't like something that is connected to black people, if they're white, or connected to any other race for that matter, then that means that they're racist and terrible and they don't deserve love or food or shelter or anything. And I know this because I actually went to a predominantly white Catholic school, and one day I was just walking, and I heard these people talking. They were all white, and I heard the word black, and I thought to myself, I'm gonna mess with these people. So I backed up. I had passed them. I backed up, and I said, "What you say about black?" And they were all like, "Oh, we weren't talking about you. Oh, we're sorry, we weren't talking about you." And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I was fucking kidding. I thought they would know. I thought they would know that I was kidding. But now I was already in it, so I was like, that's right. And I walked away. And to this day, those people probably think, if none of them are listening to this, and none of them are listening to this and know who I am, those people probably think that I was actually potentially offended. This is what we're dealing with, people. So, all these people who are, reviewing this movie and telling everybody how great it is, I can't really take a lot of that praise at face value with something like this. And I can't really do it for most movies now that feature minorities because, okay, is it actually good, or are you just saying that, or you're just convincing yourself that you believe that so you can say that you're not, a bad person? So, then now, as a black person, I'm not tethered by that. And I'm also not tethered by the fact that, it is a predominantly black cast. I don't personally really care all that much. I kind of just want to see a good movie. Now, I like seeing black people in movies, but having a black person in the movie in and of itself, just for the sake of having a black person in the movie, that doesn't do anything for me. I tend to relate to characters based on if they act like I would act or say the things I would say. Like for instance, in The Last Jedi, the character that I identify with the most was not Finn. It was actually Talia. I think she was Blue Leader in the first battle. Spoilers, but everybody's probably know. In the first battle with the Dreadnought thing, there's a pilot named Tally, and she dies very early in the movie. But I liked her a lot, and like that's the person I would be. You know, just her line delivery. She's a pilot. That's the thing I want to be in. I was in the Star Wars universe, and I wasn't a Jedi. You know, and you know, she's a white woman, and she's the person I related to the most. So you know that should tell you something about how I look at this. But anyway, back to the Black Panther in and of itself. Again, good movie. I liked it. Very entertaining. A lot of good set pieces. A lot of flaws too. So I'm gonna go over them. I'm gonna go over them and kind of. I don't have anything written down or anything. This is just all kind of coming out of my head. But the first. You know what? I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to lead with the negative things. I'm going to say what I like about Black Panther first. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So, I guess my favorite thing about Black Panther is just kind of a lot of the early action, I guess. Not the first fight, because, that it would look kind of cool, but I couldn't see most of it, when he drops down on those bandits. Spoilers again, by the way. I'm going to talk about the movie at length, but when he drops down the bandits and he scares them, and you can't really see most of what he's doing. And the thing I like most about the Black Panther is his fighting style. It's the coolest fighting style out of anyone in the MCU, if you ask me. Just with this kind of his martial arts background, right? So, but we couldn't even see most of that. So I was a little disappointed with that, but. The action when they were in Korea, I think it was Korea. That was really good. I like that car. I like the car chase quite a bit. Some parts of that chase were stupid, like when Goye, whatever her name is, climbed out of the bulletproof car, and nobody hit her with the guns that they had. You know what? Fuck it. You just have terrible aim. You couldn't hit. There's basically. For all intents and purposes, it was basically a stationary target. And you had, machine guns. And I know she was swerving back and forth a little bit, but come on. But, everything else about that car chase, I love how Shuri and T'Challa were talking. And I love their banter. I love all the maneuvers that T'Challa was making. I liked the addition to the suit, too, with the kinetic energy mechanic. I like that a lot. I also liked, the scene right before that when they were in the casino and everybody was fighting everybody else. And Sequoia actually jumped off of a fucking balcony. She jumped off a balcony onto a person. And I'm like, that is legit? Can we rewind and see that again, please? That was fantastic. That was fantastic. And, I didn't... One thing that a lot of movies tend to do that... Marvel has always been kind of good at this, I feel. There's still some things here and there, but when you make a badass woman, in a lot of different media, you typically have to kind of downgrade everybody she's fighting to make her look better. Or make her seem stronger than she actually would be. What I mean by that is, if nothing this egregious has happened in my memory, my recent memory, but if you had a woman fighting a man 3 times her size and she lifts him with one hand and chucks him over a cliff, okay, that can't happen, again, nothing like quite that egregious has happened, but you get a lot of the times you get women kind of having no business pulling off the maneuvers that they pull off just because of physics alone, not because of the woman's competence, just because of physics. And a lot of movies get this right though, like Mission Impossible, not the latest one, but the one directly before that, the one where they introduced Ferguson. That the female Rebecca Ferguson, yeah, her fighting, it makes a lot of sense. It's built around kind of more, I guess, skill. And that's what I like a lot. Like when it's around skill and not so much brute strength. And I said that Marvel does this pretty well too because Black Widow, highly competent woman, formidable opponent. And most of the time when she's like throwing people around, she's doing like highly skilled maneuvers where she like wraps her leg around their neck or something and like flings herself around and uses her entire body weight to just catapult people. And I'm cool with that. I'm down with that. That's a very skillful type thing that doesn't it doesn't make me suspend my disbelief, I guess. And Black Panther does that pretty well too. You got like Black Panther's girlfriend fighting a guy with her heel. That's a blunt weapon that would do pretty well in that type of fight. Sequoia is just wrecking motherfuckers with her staff, and that's really cool. I like that. So like I said, Black Panther I think does that pretty well. It doesn't make me suspend my disbelief or anything. It doesn't make me raise my eyebrow whenever these women are pulling off these maneuvers. So I'm cool with that. I'm down with that. But anyway, so I like that a lot. Let's see what else do I like. I'm a sucker for technology, so I like all their applications for vibranium. I acknowledge, it's a little bit of a magic bullet. It kind of seems like you can do all these things with vibranium. There's just like anything you can think of, vibranium can do it. And I'm like, okay, maybe if there were a couple more limitations to it, like that would make it, a little better in my eyes. But it's not. It doesn't really bring down the movie for me the way it is now. I love their airships to death, but I told you I would be a pilot if I was in the Star Wars universe. So I like ships and stuff like that. So what else? I thought Andy Serkis put on a good performance. I liked the guy who played Bilbo Baggins, his character. I thought that well. I like Cherie. I like Cherie a lot. No, she's the person I think I relate to. Except I would never make a one of those meme reference, but I do like Cherie, and I like the choreography of the the 1-on-1 or even 2-on-1 or 5-on-1 fight scenes was pretty good. Okay. Okay, yeah. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Okay. Now let's get into what all you people came for. Is my problems with the film. First I'm going to talk about my problems with the film as a film, and then I'm going to talk about my problems with just a lot of character actions and motivations. Okay. So film as a film, I think it dragged a little bit toward the end. I think it front-loaded a lot of his action set pieces, and then it just kind of slowed down for a really long time before the final fight. And, I'm not really sure how they could have gotten around that so much, just because they needed to build up a lot of the, stuff with Killmonger becoming the new king and whatnot, and all that stuff. So, but it did drag. The pace dipped. The pace should never dip for as long as it did in this movie. So I was just kind of, like looking at my watch, like, okay, all right, I know they're going to fight at the end. Can we just get to that part, please? And, there were some funny parts, of course, like when M'Baku was interrupting the Bilbo guy by barking at him. I like that part. But, that's kind of fun. Not huge, but it kind of brought the movie down a little bit for me. I think that Killmonger's development was not botched, but they clearly were trying to go for like a moral gray area. This guy has a point type thing, and I just did not buy it at all. I didn't buy it at all. First of all, because he's just this ruthless jackass who would kill anybody at any time to further his goals. The second is because obviously he's radicalized by his beliefs, but just the whole I'll kill everyone, anyone, everyone who's not black, and that will bring like justice or something. Even though and this is something too, like the main characters of Black Panther, all except Killmonger, are African. They're not African American. There is a difference. There is a massive cultural difference between a black person born in the United States, for instance, and a black person born in like Zimbabwe or something. These two are not one and the same. There's enough cultural distinction for me, and just culturally, pushing aside aesthetics that they look similar, there are enough cultural distinctions for me that I'm not sure I understand why all the black people who aren't, really close to having African descent are, fawning over this movie as a victory for black people in general. Because, it's so much different. It's so much different. And I know how different it is because, like, a lot of the, like, when I was in undergrad, most of the black people in my engineering program actually were from Africa. Like, I met very few actual African American people in my grad program. In my grad programs, the vast majority of the people I came across were from Africa, and they're just. And I've met other people from Africa as well, and they're a lot different. Just as people, they act differently. There's distinction. You can't say that an Australian and a person who lives in Australia and who has a bunch of ancestors who also lives in Australia is like, you can't make a movie about an Australian and say, okay, all Swedish people should be able to relate to this. They're both white, right? Yet, there are like massive cultural differences. So that that's the first reason I kind of like, this isn't a movie about African Americans or black. This is a movie about Africans. So what was my point about that? Let me try to back this. Oh yeah, Killmonger. So I don't understand why he wasn't angrier at Wakanda itself. Because whatever his father, Killmonger's father, was trying to do, the enemies who he was trying to expunge with the advanced technology and whatnot, they didn't kill him. The king of Wakanda killed him. And the advisor to the king was, privy to it, and they all kept that secret and shit. Like, these philosophies, it seems to me like he would want to, I guess, bring down Wakanda a little bit more. Now, he did become the king and whatnot. And he did, okay, I'm going to change everything about how Wakanda operates. But still, like, he didn't really get revenge on the people who took his father from him. Really? I mean, yeah, he quote-unquote killed T'Challa, but, like, is that it? And then he goes off to, take over the world. So, there's that, and I couldn't accept him as a sympathetic villain, because, sympathetic villains, like Thanos, I would be more inclined to accept as a sympathetic. I feel more for Thanos than I do for Killmonger. And Thanos is like he's basically a cold-blooded murderer. I'm not saying I like the guy. I'm not saying I agree with him or anything. Okay, but he didn't kill unnecessarily. Like, he neutralized anybody who opposed him, but he didn't kill willy-nilly with like this massive cruelty. He only really killed when he was forced to do so. Like, he let all of the heroes that he fought with, like Iron Man, Spider-Man, the Guardians, Doctor Strange, he let them all live after they gave him the Son of Time. he didn't have to do that, you know. So like, and he legitimately believed that he was doing what needed to be done and the right thing. Now I disagree with his logic, of course, but you know, I could buy the fact that he thought he was doing what was right. I can't really buy that with Killmonger. He's just a rampaging monster at this point, and I can't relate to him at all. Like there's he didn't try to go, okay, your kings have lied to you. This is the way the world is, and we're not gonna we're gonna do something about it now. We're going to bring justice to our people. And once again, not really. All right, sorry about that. My Audacity crashed in the middle of a sentence in my sentence, but I'll keep going. But anyway, you know, Killmonger, you know, he grabbed when the lady questioned him about burning all the flowers, he grabbed her by the neck and lifted her up, and you know, just this. He's just such an asshole. He's just such an asshole, and I can't feel for him because, like, I don't think this is coming from a sense of justice or a sense of right and wrong. I just think he wants some sort of, you know, primal retribution against people who are not even, may not even have had anything to do with it. Against your people as well. Because, like, you know, let's say he goes out into the fucking world, right? And he's just gonna fuck it all up. He's just gonna fuck it all up. And he's gonna kill a lot of people who don't deserve to be killed. Like, there's no way he's not going to kill a lot of innocent people who had nothing to do with anything that was done to black people in the past. He's going to kill a lot of black people as well who are also gonna go, this is stupid, this is, what the fuck are you doing? And the only people he's going to appease are the angry people who, you know, want to unleash their anger on the world and have the power to do so. And it's just going to be this just never-ending storm of resentment and violence. And it's not going to end. It's not going to end. You're just going to become the new subjugators. Like, you don't fight subjugation with more subjugation. Like, it's just, you know, people say they understand where he's coming from, and, like, you know, I understand why he thinks that, you know, drastic measures may or may not need to be taken, but he just goes so far with it that, like, you lost me, dude. You lost all of the moral grayness. Okay, any justice that you obtain by doing this is just going to be heavily outweighed by all the pain and suffering that you're going to cause. And that's obvious to me. It's obvious. It's not subtle enough for him to have, like, not thought about it, or thought about it and really been able to rationalize it in any believable way. So I don't really like Killmonger in that regard. I also thought it was stupid that he defeated T'Challa in melee combat. It's ridiculous, okay? Like, you know, if they're at a shooting range or something and they had, like, projectile weapons and cover and, you know, all these tactics, then sure, okay, alright, that's fine. But T'Challa, presumably, has been training to only this, fighting with a spear and a shield and hand-to-hand combat, okay, since, you know, however long he's been training, which, you know, has to be decades. Like, there's no way that T'Challa, you know, started training after Killmonger started training. There's no way at all whatsoever. I think that's a little ridiculous. I do. I think that's a little ridiculous that Killmonger defeated T'Challa that way. Now, you know, if he had done some, like, dirty trick and taking advantage of T'Challa's, you know, what quote unquote, like, weaknesses, you know, maybe threw something at his family or something like that, or something that it's not technically in the, you know, not technically out of the rule game, I guess, or whatever the rules are. We don't know, really. We're not really they didn't really express very clearly what exactly the rules are. But if he had done something along those lines, I'm like, okay, all right, that's fine. But he beat T'Challa basically fair and square. He beat T'Challa basically fair and square, and that I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. Because I actually found Killmonger to be a little bit of a Gary Stu. They say he graduated from MIT and he's the best killer. He's killed all these people and he's just the best there is. I'm like, okay, really? Really? I'm not sure. That's a really big problem I have whenever they kind of tout a character as being hyper intelligent in general, because I'm an engineer. I'm a grad student. I like characters who use their wits and technology to win the day. So I pay attention whenever they tell me a character is intelligent, and 9 times out of 10 the people who write these characters aren't really as smart as the people who are as the characters are writing. Now, I'm not saying that everybody has to be a genius, otherwise you can't write an intelligent character. I'm not saying that at all. But you're telling us that this character is intelligent, and then they don't do anything intelligent, or they do pseudo intelligent things like explaining stuff with overly flowery language without really saying anything of substance, or just saying something blatantly wrong. They didn't do, which is interesting because they didn't do that with Cherie. Clearly Cherie is hyper intelligent, but they gave us context for that. They gave us the results of her intelligence, and they didn't make her say anything that really say or do anything rather that really put her intelligence in question. They just didn't. So I think they did Cherie really well, but Killmonger is supposed to be this super intelligent killer dude. And I don't understand his plan. I don't understand his plan. It seemed to me they didn't need to go through all of that in order to for him to enact his plan. Because his plan was, kill what's his face, Andy Serkis' character, bring him to Wakanda, and then they will trust me enough to having brought this guy back to Wakanda to, let me in. Which is odd because he has a lip tattoo that tells people that he is of Wakanda. And they're like, we've never seen this guy before, but he has a lip tattoo. What's going on here? And then everything would have been exactly the same. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, if he was planning on, taking Andy Serkis' character to Wakanda dead, what stopped him in the days, weeks, months prior to the events of this movie? Because you could go, oh, he wanted to, hurt the people's trust in T'Challa, to get things done, and then I'll get that thing done, and then people will trust me, and I'm like, okay, first of all, do you have any idea the incredibly ridiculous amount of variables that have to go through in order to for that plan to work? Not least of which the fact that after they apprehended Andy Serkis, they didn't just take him back to Wakanda like they were planning to do. They let the CIA, they let the CIA interrogate him, but for all intents and purposes, they didn't have to do that. Okay? They could have just taken Andy Serkis' character into custody and then just fucked off to Wakanda. Now what? Now what? If you're supposed to be in on this whole thing, it's really stupid. And, he stole the axe thing from that museum. To get the vibranium in it, I don't think... Was that to make Andy Serkis' arm thing? It might have been to make Andy Serkis' arm thing. Or trade the vibranium in order to get the CIA there. Or, all this... It's just an incredibly convoluted plan that doesn't seem to result in anything that doesn't seem to result in anything that could have been done, could not have been done otherwise. The only thing it changes is, that the guy who was supposed to be T'Challa's friend, who was the actor in Get Out, like, that guy, like, and now I trust that this guy is gonna get shit done. He's gonna fix the world. Oh my god, T'Challa can't do jack shit. And then, if T'Challa had just gone, okay, this is the guy who is the reason we didn't have Andy Serkis in the first place. He took Andy Serkis back. Okay, he's the reason why, and you're gonna trust him? Seriously? That's the first thing. The second thing was, he's like, oh, I thought you'd be different, T'Challa. I thought you would get shit done, and then T'Challa didn't give him any context. That miscommunication was really dumb to me, and it's especially weird because, like, clearly Killmonger brought that guy there, so that he could have an audience with the king or whatever of Wakanda. He didn't bring that guy there. He didn't say, I did what you couldn't. He didn't go, oh, this guy, I've been tracking this guy forever, and I finally brought him down to avenge Wakanda. He didn't earn anyone's trust in any believable way, especially not the Get Out guy who trusted him blindly and just betrayed his entire country, basically, because of that. Which brings me to my next gripe. How leaders are chosen in this super fucking culturally and technologically advanced society. Trial by combat. Are you fucking serious right now? Are you fucking serious right now? Okay, if you're choosing the warrior of Wakanda, and that's his prime directive, and that's pretty much all he does, and okay, duh, you want the person who is the best person. But nobody has to challenge the reigning monarch or the reigning warrior. Nobody has to challenge him. So, like, for all intents and purposes, you could just believe that he's the strongest one, and then he would be able to act as that warrior. And two, as we saw by all the political nuances of all the interactions within the movie, obviously there is more to being a leader than fucking fighting people and punching them in the face. So why the hell is the supreme leader who gets to direct the military and all the policies of Wakanda and take care of all the people and tell everybody what to do, and they have to listen without question? Why the fuck does it go to the person who's the best with a spear? Or whatever, or club, or whatever the hell weapon that they're using? That is fucking ridiculous. And clearly, they're trying to invoke the traditions of, like, elements of African culture with stuff like that. But I don't. That's dumb. That's fucking stupid. And I won't accept anything else, because like we're supposed to be like a model or something for how things go, but any motherfucker can just come in, kill the king, and become the king. Kill the king and become the king. If they do it in the right way, if they do it on the waterfall thing, they can just kill the king, and now everybody has to listen to them, no matter how insane they are. That's another thing. Like, there's no way there wouldn't have been open rebellion. There's no way. Like, Okoye and the lady guard people with the spears are the only ones who rebelled against Killmonger. Really? Seriously? Like, none of the subjects, none of the soldiers would go, this is wrong, this is weird. None of them, they just blindly follow, like, the directives of this guy who just came in and killed our beloved Black Panther King T'Challa, and now we're just gonna do everything he fucking says? Come on. They didn't have to give him the fucking, the flower juice. They didn't have to do that. They did not, okay? They could have just gone, this is fucking stupid. I'm the queen now. The T'Challa's mother, like, okay, fuck this. Get him out of here. Like, they didn't have to accept the fucking challenge. He missed the challenge day. Okay, they could just say, okay, you missed the challenge day. I'm king already. You can't just challenge me out of the blue. He already fought a challenge. Is there no limit to the amount of challenges you can fight? Like, this is the rules thing. That's just dumb. And it is the pillar of the third act that event happens. It's something that should just never have happened. This should just never happen. So that bothers me quite a bit, actually. It bothers me quite a bit. And then, T'Challa gets thrown off a waterfall, he miraculously survives, and they give him the flower juice, and they have that big CGI fight at the end where it's brother, my brother type thing with the rhinos and shit. And I did like the fight scene between the guards and Killmonger though. I thought that was really cool. I thought the fight scene between Killmonger and what's his face, T'Challa could have been better. A lot of talking, but like. Of course, but I would have liked it less CGI fighting, I guess, because I like the best parts of Black Panther, the best parts of, Civil War, when the Black Panther was involved, happened when T'Challa was just fighting regularly as a person on screen, just fucking fighting without the CGI. I thought that was the coolest part. So I could have done with a little less CGI in the final fight, but it was fine, it was serviceable. Then he kills the guy and then takes him up to the sunset. And he's like, bury me in the sea with my ancestors because they knew death was better than bondage. Everybody thinks that's such a deep line. And, it kind of is on the surface. But, when you really start thinking about it, like, oh, that was his prime motivation. Some type of vindication for slavery was his prime motivation for causing all this pain and suffering that he was going to cause that I talked about already. And I'm like, no. No. You do not become the people who conducted those injustices. You don't. You don't do that. So I didn't like that. I didn't like that. Okay? Like, Black Panther, I can watch it. It's a pretty entertaining movie. There's a lot of good banter and a lot of good character moments, and it evolved the lore of Wakanda a little bit more, but there are just those two glaring issues, like the villain sympathy. He's too unsympathetic to be used as a moral gray area villain, as far as I'm concerned. Just as a person and his actions and his motivations, and the way the leadership passes in Wakanda. Again, this super advanced, culturally advanced civilization makes their leader decisions this way, and that's just ridiculous to me. And then the third problem was there was absolutely no justification for T'Chaka killing his brother. Okay? None. There's no justification. And there was even less justification for him killing his brother and then leaving his brother's son alone. No mother, no father. Who does that? He's your fucking nephew, bro. Why would you do that? And he's like kicked off the villain. Oh, like, you create your own villains. It's fucking. Let's go back to the fact that he did not have to kill. Okay, so this guy was going to shoot what's his face? Forrest Whitaker's young self, T'Chaka's brother. So T'Chaka slapped the gun down. He either slapped it down or blocked the shot with his vibranium suit, or he neutralized the weapon. The weapon was neutralized, okay? At that point, he could have A, a sofa, B, an expensive haircut, or C, done literally anything else but stab his brother. His brother was no longer a threat. I have the gun. Either I can just cut off his hand or just scratch it even with my vibranium talent. I can backfist him in the face. I could just kick him to the other side of the room. Like you had the gun. You had the only thing that was a threat. Okay, this guy could have stood trial for trying to kill Forrest Whitaker's character. He could have done a bunch of stuff, but no, you stabbed him, and you didn't need to. You did not need to. That was a dumb fucking choice, and I don't like that he did that. I don't like that he did that. But you could pass that off as heat of the moment type thing. Like I acted on my own, like without really thinking. Maybe it's a muscle memory type thing. I don't know. But that was a stupid choice. But you can kind of explain it away like this. You cannot explain explain away just leaving his son there in order to keep Wakanda a secret. A secret from the rest of the world? Like, we knew, there's no way that T'Chaka could have known that his brother did not tell Killmonger anything about Wakanda. In fact, we know that he did and got his lip tattooed. The vibranium tattoo thing. So we knew that he knew about Wakanda. So his presence not in Wakanda is the greatest fucking security risk. Okay, to Wakanda's safety. Okay? Because, there's no way anyone could have figured it out. Okay? Like, if you just take this child and take him to Wakanda, like, everybody already saw the fucking ship. Okay? That invisible ship that wasn't really that invisible. People saw that. The kids saw that. They didn't discover Wakanda. Okay? You could have just ransacked his apartment and, done some recon. And Forrest Whitaker knew him, so he knew where all the Wakanda related information would come from. Okay, so they could just take all that stuff, take this kid, again, your biggest security risk, this kid who knows about Wakanda and whose father is dead now. And, just left to his own devices. Did you hope he was just gonna die? In which case, what kind of fucking person are you? And that kicked off all the events of the Black Panther, basically. Like, that's just utterly ridiculous. Well, all the events in the third, everything that has to do with Killmonger that kicked off. And that is just kind of weak. That's beyond a character just making an honest mistake, and it's just right into stupidity. Dude. Like, if you think for a second, no king whose primary objective is keeping his nation a secret from the world. No king with an IQ above 20 would make that mistake. They just would not make that mistake. And he did make that mistake. He would not leave it. He would come back. Eventually he'd go, oh, you know what? That's probably really very fucking stupid. And then he would go back and he would get the fucking kid. And then, we wouldn't have had all this bullshit. So, I guess my main problems with the movie itself are just the foundational narrative elements of it. It's not so much the cinematography, it's not so much the characterization or the dialogue, it's not so much even the action set pieces or anything like that. It's just, as far as I'm concerned, I don't believe that a country or all these leaders or all these people who, have been presented in the way that they have been presented by the movie would do the things that the movie has them do. And I don't think that the villain does the moral gray area technique very well, just because of how morally egregious he is. Those are my issues with the Black Panther. Everything else is minutia. I went over, my biggest problems with it, and that's why I don't think it's a masterpiece. And a lot of parts of it kind of pissed me off a little bit. I don't think it's a bad movie. I think it's shot very well. I like a lot of the action and characters. I thought Shuri was just a fantastic addition to the MCU. I like Okoye's development a lot. Okoye, what the fuck is her name? I'm just gonna call her Okoye because I can't get the first part of her name. But that's, and yeah. Okay, so if you made it this far and you agree with me or disagree with me, you can feel free to comment. I will respond as I can. And this has been a PixelCast about a movie, not a video game. So, okay. I hope you enjoyed my little ranting. I hope maybe I made you think a little bit, or maybe you're disgusted with me and think I'm a terrible person. I don't know what's going on in your head, but I do hope you have a good night, And I hope you have a good afternoon or good morning or whenever. Okay? All right. See you later, guys.